Hello everybody, and welcome back to Manchester's finest mindful meditation sessions. I'm Daniel Bradford from Mindful Acting, and thank you for joining me on this wonderful Saturday morning for a little bit of mindfulness and peace and serenity in this turbulent time. So today's theme we're going to be exploring is being an ever-gracious host. So what do I mean by being an ever-gracious host? Well, I think I would like to read you a poem, a quite well-known poem by a Sufi poet named Rumi, that I think will best describe the sentiment we're going to be working with today. And then I'll go into a little bit more about how we're going to practice it. So feel free to close your eyes or just sit back and I'll read through this poem to give us a better idea of what we're going to work on today. The poem is called The Guest House. The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So that poem was by Jalaluddin Rumi, and the translation was by Coleman Barks. Hope I didn't bastardize either of those pronunciations there. So the sentiment that we're going to be working with today, this being an ever-gracious host, is about coming into relationship to our experience and letting go of the judgment of the content of our experience itself. So this is to say, we can still be present with the feeling sensation of things. We might experience something as unpleasant or pleasant or neutral as an automatic flavor. But that doesn't necessarily mean that unpleasantness has to lead to suffering. And pleasantness doesn't necessarily lead to happiness. So we're going to explore in an experiential sense what this means and how we can do this and how we can relate to our experience like an ever-gracious host at a party where we just stand at the door holding the door open for whatever experience might come. Whatever guest might come, and we behave towards them with grace and respect and acceptance and tolerance. So that's what we're going to be working with today. So for those of you who haven't meditated before, all you need to do is find a comfortable position to sit in, or if sitting is too difficult for you, you can lie down. I recommend if you do lie down to keep your knees upright, so bent in supine, so they're pointing towards the ceiling. This will help so that your body doesn't correlate the lying down directly with sleeping. Not that it's bad to fall asleep, it's perfectly fine if you do, and I welcome it if that's what you need. But we want to prime our bodies that we're doing perhaps a different intention. Yeah, we've got a different intention for the task of meditation. Similarly, if you're sitting, it's best if you can find a way to hold some of your own upper body weight, so you're not necessarily leaning back too far on something. Once again, if you have any undue pain or some sort of hindrances in your physical life that need to be addressed or that are extreme in any way, please take care of yourself, do what you need to do. But for those who can, I recommend sitting somewhat upright and holding yourself in this place. The lower part of your body, either cross-legged, sitting on a chair is perfectly fine. If you do sit on a chair, have your feet on the ground, you might be able to see I'm using a stool, a type of stool, meditation stool, and that's something to invest in, I think. If you plan to take on meditation more seriously in your life, I think it's a particularly good thing for those of us in the West who might not be used to sitting cross-legged in what might be called lotus or half lotus or Burmese posture. These are things you might be familiar with. So, once again, this week's practice is going to be eyes closed meditation. So feel free to just take your time now, close your eyes. I'll guide us through the whole process. I'll ring a bell to start, and I'll ring a bell at the end. And if you have any questions at any point, feel free to put them in the comments. Of course, it'd be best to wait till the end, and I'll be happy to get to them and answer them when I can. Okay, so here we go. So getting into a comfortable position and just closing our eyes. I'm just going to start with a little bit of a warm-up. No need to force yourself to be still, although stillness might be something that we begin to allow in the practice itself. Start to find a way to settle into the position you're going to be in for the duration of the practice. Should be for around 20 minutes or so. Settling in, making whatever adjustments you need, and just tuning into your own experience. And here we go. So here we are, together this morning. Bound together by our shared practice. And so to start, I invite you to become aware of whatever's going on in your experience, be it thoughts, feelings, emotions, sound, smell, light dancing behind your eyelids, the feeling of your body in space, balance, anything that you can be aware of. Just notice what's already here. And there's no obligation to have to maintain focus or concentration on anything in particular. So just feel free to be with whatever arises for as long as it's there, and allow it to pass as it passes. And so here we might start to take on this role as the ever-gracious host at our own party. We could say our role here is to simply stand at the door and hold it open. There may be guests that arrive that we find unpleasant, and we simply commit to holding the door open for them. Thoughts, feelings, moods, physical sensations, disagreeable sounds, things that we feel might be nuisances or distractions to what we want to be doing right now. Instead of trying to shut the door on them, which will only serve to make them more unpleasant and give you suffering at the attempt to hold the door closed, simply allow yourself to hold the door open so they may come and go as they will. Same goes for pleasant experiences or experiences that we're somewhat indifferent to. Simply hold the door open. Let go of the compulsion to close the door and try to trap the pleasant sensations and experiences in. For that will only serve to transform them into unpleasant guests. Let everything come and go as it pleases. Getting out of the way. Neither trying to grasp on nor push away. Simply allow them to be themselves without trying to change the experience. Can we develop a tolerance to the guest itself as it comes and goes? Letting go of the need to do anything to the guest. Just allowing them to be. Can we let go of the need to get involved? Can we let go of the need to fix our minds and simply be with our mind? Simply observing, noticing, being curious about each of the guests as they come and stay and go? Can we let them come? Can we let them be? And can we let them go? Can we let go of the struggle? The struggle to make things pleasant, to make the pleasant things stay, or to try and change that which is neutral or unpleasant into pleasant. Can we become curious about the things, the experiences we initially might have aversion to? There's nothing for you to do here, but simply be with the experiences. To simply hold the door open, allow them to explore the guest house of your awareness. This big, open house, spacious, with room for all. An unlimited amount of room and space. Can we simply allow these guests to come and be and go as they please? Perhaps you have a thought or a series of thoughts that you find particularly unpleasant. There's no need to try to make these thoughts go away. And the more you do, the more they will resist. It can be difficult to simply stand by and do nothing. Yet many times this is the wisest and most compassionate thing we can do. To simply allow each thing to be itself without judgment, without judging ourselves, without letting go of blame and shame and guilt. What if there was nothing wrong with whatever you're experiencing right now? It may be unpleasant, or it may be pleasant, or it may be neither, or both. What if this experience was neither good nor bad, but simply was? Can we develop this tolerance this resilience by just being with whatever arises. Perhaps, like me, there's a tickling sensation on your nose. Can I become curious about the sensation itself? Can I let go of my seeming immediate judgment that it is bad and must go away? Can I look at it with kindness, tolerance, compassion, curiosity, mindfulness? And then it's gone. Let it come. Let it be. Let it go. We're now going to sit in silence together for a few minutes as you explore your own experiential world, your own consciousness, your own body, your own mind. Can we even embrace the voice of the inner critic inside us, telling us we're doing something wrong, striving to get things right? Can we even allow this guest, this sometimes deeply unpleasant guest, or a guest that we find deeply unpleasant rather, can we simply let it come and be and go as well? Can we allow the judgment to be here? Once again, not trying to shut the door or change it or wrestle with it or fix it. Can we just allow each guest to be? Our only job here is to hold the door open. Nothing else. Can we develop tolerance? Can we develop or cultivate some level of peace with the unpleasant guests and the pleasant guests and the neutral guests? Not peace in spite of them, but with them. So in a few moments, we'll be coming to the end of our practice together. And I'll ring the bell. And feel free to take your time to transition out of the activity we've been doing. No need to rush. The bell is simply an invitation, as is everything else. It's completely your choice whether or not to accept. Okay. Well, for those of you who have already made the transition, welcome back. And I hope that was fruitful for you, gave you some interesting experiences to work with. What I want to emphasize is that this sort of practice is not geared to try and make you feel pleasant experience. It's to offer up a different perspective to all of our experience so that we may find some peace or calm or happiness with it, not in spite of it. That we can hold a deeper, wider space of awareness for it to exist within. Whatever your experience, whether it was challenging or difficult or wonderful, it's all wonderful. It's all food for thought. It's all telling you something. It's all helpful. So, thank you for joining me again. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Once again, I'm Daniel Bradford from Mindful Acting. Thank you again to Manchester's Finest for having me, and I'll see you guys next Saturday, same time. If you have anything you want to ask me more directly, you can get me on my email at info@mindfulacting.co.uk. Visit my website, www.mindfulacting.co.uk. Feel free to tag me in anything. Feel free to go to the website and check me out. If you're interested in doing some more practice, come back next week here. Saturday, we also have a Sunday drop-in meditation on my website that you can find on there, Sundays at 6 p.m. So feel free to pop on there and sign on up to that. Thanks again. Have a good week.